Oh, you're rolling?
Sure, now we are. I mean, it's all recording right
I
now.
don't want to mess up.
I have to talk
microphone?
like this. Yep.
Oh, okay.
It's
All right.
like a little,
Well, if we need an hour, I don't want to like burn through the questions I was going to ask you.
We'll just talk slower.
beforehand.
Let's
I do
go
talk
slower.
slow. Usually the cadence, I'll time it with my foot.
Okay,
So
perfect.
I'll sort of slow it down. Because I'm from Somerset, Kentucky, and it's about
Noah's-
2.5 hours
Noah's
south of
from
here.
there. Yeah. The guy
Noah,
that's not here.
the guy I've not
producer
met.
that's not here.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if he were here, he was from Somerset?
Yeah, he went to Somerset High School. Is that
Oh.
it? Somerset High School, right?
That was the rival school. I went to the county school,
What's the name of it?
Pulaski
Pulaski
County,
County.
who's actually
Okay, cool.
playing in the state championship this weekend.
Got it.
They won
Okay.
the region. I'm not going to the game.
Why
but,
not? Don't you care about the home team?
I haven't worn. Yeah, right. I do. But I got 3 kids, so
Okay.
that's usually what my weekends consist of. But
Yep.
I
get
am going to
that.
try and find it, stream the game, because
Do they do
once a maroon, always a maroon.
Got it. Where's the game? Is it at
Rep Arena.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
But yeah, so Somerset was is the city school. I went to the county
Mhm.
school, and then Southwestern was the other county school. But I played soccer growing up. It was a football, basketball town.
Yeah.
I played soccer,
Okay.
which is my sport, and that's what my kids play now. So
Got it.
I
Because of you?
vicariously lived through them. No, not really.
Okay.
It's just sort of something, like throwing a baseball. We kick a soccer ball,
Okay.
and thankfully they like the sport. I don't play
Yeah.
anymore. When I moved back from New York to Louisville,
Mhm.
I played in these men's leagues around town. And, when you're in your 30s and you go out and play one night a week with men, there's a lot of testosterone that you try and get out. So instead of playing soccer, we found ourselves, shoving, trying to hurt other
Yeah.
people.
It becomes a wrestling
And
match
as
that
a
happens to have
plastic
soccer.
Yeah, as a plastic surgeon, I realized that probably shouldn't be out there horsing around on the soccer field. If I get injured my hands, then I can't do the work. So
Well, you got insurance on,
about
right?
that, yes,
Yeah,
very good
so
insurance
there you go.
actually.
Right.
So good that everyone around me is going to get paid if my hands go down more than I will get paid.
So what you're saying is one of them should just like accidentally trip you in the hallway.
For
by
sure,
accident.
I'm definitely worth more injured or dead right now.
Okay, take note.
Which is good because everything I do is sort of about the people around me. That's sort of where this company started, Mays Plastic
Mhm.
Surgery. The company's only a year old. I was with another organization for 6.5 years, and it was a great organization. It's just I was just a highly compensated employee. I wasn't sort of calling the shots, and I had teams at the old company, but I wasn't sort of directing them, or things I would
Got it.
say wouldn't happen, and I had visions that wouldn't come through, and that's sort of why I started Mays Plastic Surgery. Was one, to sort of, well, when you say something that's going to happen. 2, your visions actually become a reality.
Right.
And so that's how this whole process started. We just got in the new building, so it's all been a growth.
I'm laughing at you because we're talking about like, are we going to be able to fill up an hour?
Mhm.
What's this going to be like? And you just like naturally transitioned.
I know. I'm a pro.
Like you're
at
the
this.
host. I mean, you're the host right
I'm
now.
a pro.
I'll let
This
you
is
take
fine.
this. I
This
know.
is like
It's
my
funny.
201st podcast.
Yep. Mhm.
So how many have you done?
This is my first one.
Oh,
So
I thought you said
pretty
200.
nervous. Yeah, I did. I'm just
So I
kidding.
have one more than you now.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So I kind of want to go back in time in what you just said. And
Somerset.
maybe not that far, but maybe we'll go back
Pulaski
there
County.
again. Well, you said you were in New York. What were you doing in New York?
Yeah, so I was in Rochester, New York,
Mhm.
not New York City, which
Yeah.
I just say New York because it's like, New York City. It's like, no, actually upstate New York.
Okay.
So after my medical school, which was here in U of L, that's how I came to Louisville from Somerset, was I
Mhm.
came here for college, medical school, and then after medical school, you do a residency, and I knew I wanted to be a plastic surgeon, so I applied to plastic surgery residency. So I matched at University of Rochester,
Okay.
and that's where I did my 6 years of plastic surgery.
I auditioned up there. I have a big background in classical music, so I
Yeah,
was at the
this is-
Eastman School. For,
Oh yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah. Oh
very
my gosh,
nice
that place is
school.
wild.
Yeah.
Like, just stepping into another world. What it
Yeah.
looks like in there. That's
What
really cool.
instrument?
Percussion.
Percussion.
Yeah.
So everything you hit.
Everything
on,
you hit.
Everything you hit.
Yep. Strike, shake, crash, all that kind of stuff.
What was your
Yep.
favorite?
Timpani? Are you familiar with those?
No. Why you gotta say things I'm not gonna know? You can say like snare.
Yeah.
Bass.
Cymbals. You're
Oh yeah. Is that what it is? Or the triangle? Is that the triangle? The little.
literally a triangle.
Is that what
shape.
it is?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Is it?
Timpani are large kettle drums, usually in the back of the orchestra because they're large.
Like the metal, like the Jamaican.
No,
No,
that's
I'm
like
very
a steel
cultured.
drum.
Like I said, I'm from Somerset, Kentucky.
I know, and you went all the way to New
Southeastern.
York. Like you've been everywhere, man.
Yeah, I know all about the percussion.
2001: A Space Odyssey. Do you know that theme? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no.
Yep. Nope.
No, I mean, I
Cool.
know Space Odyssey, but I don't know
Okay.
much about.
I was gonna say that, like the drum sound in that soundtrack.
Gotcha.
Those are Timpani.
Yeah.
You've heard them
Can
before.
you
whether
play it?
know
Do you have
them or
anything
not.
that can play that right now? So I could.
Nope.
No.
A cell phone could show you,
I'll Google
but that's
it.
about it. Yeah.
I'll
I'll show you
Google-
later.
What's the intro sound to the podcast? Can you have that as the intro sound?
I should. It should just be like some timpani solo. People will be like, "What the hell is that?" It's like, well, get
Space
cultured,
Odyssey,
man.
2001.
Yeah. Go to Rochester and figure it out. You know.
Yeah. But yeah, Rochester was
Yeah.
great. Went to a couple concerts at the Eastman School.
Okay.
But I did my surgical training there, and
Yeah.
I was married when I went there, and my wife was from Louisville, so that's sort of what brought us back to the city. Was having the ties to Kentucky, and
Got it.
the former organization I was with. I was friends with them when they brought me back to the city. So
Yeah. That's cool.
it was a quick trip to New York. So
Yeah. How long were you
6
up there?
years.
6 years.
two
Well,
kids were had up
You
there.
probably
so
felt like it was quick.
Oh yeah,
6
very-
years being buried in work and school and that kind of thing.
Yeah, residency, a surgical residency, that's where the name comes from, is you are a resident at the hospital. They've changed a lot in the last 20 years with work hour restrictions. You can't work more than 80 hours in a work week, which most people are like,
Yeah.
oh, you can't work more than 80. Like, I thought it's like
That's-
40 is
Yeah.
full-time, and then you're in
Yeah.
overtime. There's no overtime as a resident.
Yeah.
And as a surgeon, it's like a pilot. You have to have so many hours to get your craft just started, right? Your pilot's 10,000 hours, something along those lines. But as a surgeon, it's all about learning the techniques. As a plastic surgeon, this is more art than medicine. The medicine stuff, I don't really remember a lot of that. It's all art now. It's all body art. That's why I call this the OR. I call it the art studio. I don't call it my OR.
Makes sense.
I call it the art studio. So that's what I do as a plastic surgeon.
Yeah.
I come from a long line of surgeons. My dad was a general surgeon. All my older brothers were general surgeons. I'm the only plastic surgeon. They were
How did they
artists.
feel about this? You didn't go the same route.
At first, they didn't think highly of plastic surgeons because they thought what you see on TV, the glitz, the glamour, they're all about the money. They don't change people's lives. And then they realize as you get involved, and as I was telling them what I do about how the stories of people and how people have gone through these weight loss journeys and the struggles they've had with their body. They're in the gym all the time and they can't get rid of the hanging skin. And you start telling about how you've changed people's lives in that way. You quickly turn them like, I get it. You weren't saving someone's life in the ER, which is what they did. They actually saved trauma surgeons. They did all that, actually saving people who were dying.
Well, that's the physical health. You do a lot of the
Correct.
mental health, right?
Correct. There is a lot of mental health,
Yeah.
psychology, but that is sort of where I feel like I have a positive impact on, because people, as humans, the way we see ourselves is different than the world sees us. Like when I go into a room, nothing about that patient bothers me, right?
Yeah.
Like I like them for who they are, I like you for who you are, your personality is great. Then they start to tell you the things that bother them about themselves. Then I turn on the plastic surgeon hat. I'm like, okay, the skin on your belly where you've lost weight's bothering you. What bothers you about the skin? I don't come into a room with a marker and just start marking people like, oh, you got to fix this, your
I got a
face,
plan
your
for
nose,
you.
right?
Yeah.
And that was the conception that most people have about plastic surgeons. You watch TV or movies, shows, you might see these characters that come in and they're just picking people apart. And there are some plastic surgeons that are like that, obviously. But that is not what would give me joy. If I was just coming in and sort of beating someone down with a marker, like, this is what you need to change, this is what you need to do, that would quickly take me down to a dark mental level, because that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to listen to them or you about what's bothering you. And then I use my surgical plastic surgery skills to make those changes to get to your expectations of how you see yourself, not how the world's seeing you, but how I say there's no perfect out there. One of the sayings I tell people is like, there's no perfect. I just want to know what your perfect version is. Like, you tell me what's perfect to you, because there truly is no perfection. I just want to know what your perfect is, and I'm going to try and get you there if I think I can based on expectations.
Yeah. What's the consult look like? Because,
Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine that's where this is coming out, right?
Correct. So, yeah, consultation in my world, they're either in person or virtual. I prefer in person because it's sort of like texting and emailing. You can't get the emotion. You can't get the true feelings virtually as you can in person. But the consultation is a time with me and one of my staff members who's always in the room with me of just sort of listening, sort of basically you telling me what it is that's bothering you. I do everything all over the body from eyelids to arm lifts to thigh lifts to liposuction of the ankles to make your ankles show. So it's like head to toe surgeries I do. I do a lot of things in between, but as a surgeon, we don't come in and ask you like, okay, what about your eyes? What about your chin? No, it's like rank the top 3 things you're here to talk about, and then we focus in on those. So once you meet with one of my staff members, they sort of hone me in on what we're coming in and talking about. Then I come into the room. Hopefully there's someone with the client. I like it when they have someone with them because, one, it shows you that they have support.
Yeah.
Because everyone I operate on is healthy. I do all elective surgery. No one needs anything I do.
So this is not like a post-car accident kind of situation.
No, every now and then I'll see some facial scars or things that happen traumatically. But years ago, I did a lot of reconstruction. That's sort of how you build your tools as a cosmetic surgeon, is in the reconstructive world. My residency, a lot of cleft lips, cleft palates, dog bites to the face, mutilations, cancer resection, all that stuff is sort of where you learn your craft as a cosmetic surgeon. But today, I only do the cosmetic work, the elective work. So everyone's healthy. Yeah. Everyone that comes to me is in a good mood. No one's here because they were told some bad news. Their insurance told them where to go. Now they had to come see. No, everyone who comes in this office chooses to come here. Yeah. And so as you've been in this office, this is our new building. Yeah, hopefully when you walked in, that you sort of felt that you were stepping up a level and you wanted to be in this spot, and you felt like from the smell when you walk in the door to sort of the sights and sounds, which earlier we had a little electrical issue, so just ignore that. It's usually a little brighter when you walk in, but it should be an experience when you come, and people choose to come down that experience. So it's all from the moment you call our office or find us online, because we're on all the social platforms, from the Instagrams to the TikToks, which that's a new one for me. Like, are you on TikTok?
I am. Are you?
How long have you been on TikTok?
I was on TikTok when it was still Musical.ly, so this is like 2018, 2019. This is My account actually transferred over from Musical.ly. I didn't even have to start it.
Is that like MySpace back in the day?
Yeah, that would be like if MySpace turned into Facebook without you doing anything. Yeah, it was kind of wild.
Well, I'm a recent, is it a member? What do you call that? User? What is that? What am I? User?
Yeah.
I'm a recent user of TikTok.
Are you a consumer of it? Or just a...
use it. No.
Okay.
So I have a marketing team here, which you've met, that sort of help organize this wonderful podcast. I mean, this is just top notch. But TikTok was one of those things where I was not a consumer of it. I would see things as entertaining, but then I would start to sort of see some of my younger clients, and they'll talk about TikToks or something they saw on TikTok. I was like, you saw how to build a birdhouse on TikTok? Like, oh yeah, I use TikTok for everything. I was like, so you're using TikTok like I use Google. So that in my head is like, well, if they're on TikTok looking for things, they're going to be on TikTok looking for a plastic surgeon. Yeah. So I then agreed to do TikToks with I have a TikTok manager now. Do you have a TikTok manager?
No.
Oh, well, I highly recommend that. As a user of TikTok, they come up with ideas and trends, and I told them I will not sing or dance. Those are my two things that I will voice over singing, but I will not actually sing. So those are my two restrictions.
So what kind of what are the TikToks you're putting out right now? I'm kind of curious.
Trending sounds, which, like I said, I have a TikTok manager. Yep. So if you were to ask
they put it on your radar, and then you just go,
they will send me ideas. Yep. They'll send me ideas weekly. Some concepts they saw.
Yep.
I will open up that TikTok and look at it, and if I feel engaged with it, I'm like, okay, this is something I think we should do. Yeah. Now some of the biggest hits or what's it called, going viral. See that 41.
Look at you, man.
I know what's cool. Please, I got a 12-year-old.
Come on,
He thinks I'm a fossil, is what he calls me. So I'm like, hey man, listen to the Killers, great band. He's like,
the what?
You're such a fossil. Like, what is this? I was like, oh, what do you like? He's like, Ice Spice, Travis Scott. I was like, all right, let's turn that on. Let's see. All right, let's see what sixth graders are. Is this your hype music? Like, we're gonna get hyped for the game.
Sixth graders know these words? I don't understand.
So they teach me a lot. But the whole going viral thing, those videos, I wasn't like, let's do those. They just did it. I was like, that's silly. But, 400,000 views later, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then I was getting consults from TikTok. So people from New York, Chicago, LA calling because they saw something that was on TikTok. They saw me on TikTok. I wasn't doing anything silly. It was just I was talking about something that was on there.
So you're legit making content, and then somebody is so moved and so convinced of you that they're picking up the phone from LA, 2,000 miles, whatever away, and they're like, of all the people in LA, they could do this for me. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the middle of the country.
Exactly.
That's really cool. How does that make you feel? Like to get that kind of
one, it's like, no, okay, red flag. No, it's like, but then you think about the concept, and that sparked another idea of mine, because, like you said, these larger cities, LA's, New York's, there's 5 plastic surgeons in one building. They're not together; they're separate plastic surgeons. Whereas in this area of the world, this region, the Midwest, although Louisville, you feel like you're in the South, but it's definitely technically the Midwest. People come here from all over the country to have plastic surgery based on something they've seen either online or social media, and some kind of a connection that we've had, because it's a true connection with the patient. It's not just like next. It's more of that connection. So once you make that connection, you feel safe with that person. They're going to travel wherever. I mean, people travel out of this country all the time to have surgery at a cheaper price. Yeah. I don't recommend that. They show up on TV. Correct. Or they'll show up here with some complications. They come back from the Dominican and they have a drain that was just complications. But I've also seen some great work outside the country. But some of the things you look for is just board certification. Make sure your surgeon has all the credentials, the facilities are accredited, all the things you're looking for. But when people are sort of coming here from other areas of the country, we're used to hosting. We have a whole package in place for out-of-town patients. And when I just mentioned people going like the Dominican or Mexico for surgery, it's called destination surgery. It's you're going somewhere to have surgery. So what I did, I created destination surgery to Louisville. So these bigger cities, the Chicagos, the LAs, the New York, where plastic surgery is much more expensive in those cities than if you were to come to Louisville, Kentucky. So we have destination
content, by the way. Do you tell people that?
This you're hearing it first. This is breaking news right here.
Okay. That to me would be a selling point, right?
Part of that is part of the promotion, part of the work. Do I have an actual video describing it just like that? No. So I'm going to take a snippet of this podcast and reuse it. Is that do we have to get approval for that? Do we have to sign for?
Yeah.
Can I screenshot it or screen record?
You didn't sign anything yet?
No,
before we started. All right, let's stop real quick.
I did not sign anything. Do you edit out if I use like cuss words or anything?
No.
Okay, then never mind. But so the destination surgery is something that happens in America. You go from the bigger cities to the smaller community. I mean, Louisville, it's smaller compared to Chicago, New York, Dallas. But people come from all over, and that's great. One is because it just spreads the net wider for people who learn more about you. And then, as a board-certified plastic surgeon who's done all the schooling, I do all the tests, I check I do all the credentialing. My facilities are all accredited. Like, all those are things I don't have to do. I could have a sign on my door that says I'm a plastic surgeon. If you chose to come to me and let me operate on you, that's on you, right? You chose to come to me. I don't have to have all those things I just mentioned. All those things I think are very important, and what separates me from some of the other surgeons that are the cosmetic surgeons. That's much different than a board-certified plastic surgeon. Hopefully, if you have a family member, someone you care about, they've done their research, and they're going to someone who is board-certified, is working at an accredited facility. All those boxes you want to check to make sure safety, because this is all elective, like I said. Yeah. You want to make sure you're not doing something to put your risk too high for the reward. So
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I couldn't imagine trying to go somewhere that doesn't have that. So it's pretty
Once
crazy.
you learn about it, right?
Yeah.
Most people don't know that.
Yeah.
Most people don't know all those things. So if you don't know about it, you don't think about it. You're like, oh,
makes
flashy.
sense.
I love their social media. I love their website.
Yeah.
Look at all these testimonials. I'm going to go to that place. Some of the top online presence is not a board-certified plastic surgeon. They're very entertaining. They get good work, but they've created a following just based on their personalities.
Yeah.
So there is definitely a difference with that. But if I'm sending a loved one somewhere, those are the things I'm looking for. Certifications, making sure they're board certified by what they're actually doing.
Yeah.
I could say I'm board certified, but I might be board certified in family medicine, but I'm a plastic surgeon.
We'll just leave out what it is.
So
right?
it's very, very critical when it's there's risk with surgeries, obviously.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm taking a mole off in the office. There's a lot of things that we make sure are safe when we do our procedures, and that's the stamp of approval. That's why I created these facilities. They don't just look nice. They're functional, safe facilities for clients.
Yeah, this place is beautiful. I mean, and I think it's really cool that you even think about the marketing part of the as many senses that you can work in as possible, like you talked about with the scent. Whenever you walk in the door.
Yeah, the smell. That's a custom smell that my team created, the marketing. It's not me. They bring me stuff, and I'm like,
what do you do here?
Gladiator, Gladiator, with a Gladiator, which my son's name.
Movie?
Yeah, Gladiator.
No.
How old are you?
36.
36. Yeah, you know Gladiator.
I mean, I know what it is, but,
the thumbs up, thumbs down at the end of a match. He's Caesar's like thumbs up. That's what I do. They bring me things. I'm like, you're thumbs down.
You're traffic control. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do.
But the scent was one that they put together and brought in, and I just really feel like it just captured what I was, and it just to me. So all these they elicit emotions, or like so. Yeah, the scent, the sights, the smells. We have candles that smell like our office. So if you like that smell, you can take it home with you. If you don't like the smell, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's an extra level of luxury. It kind of feels like you're stepping in somewhere unique. It doesn't just feel like a normal place, but like you said, you walk in and there's a vibe to it. And then you walk into the room, do a consult with you, like you're really easy to talk to. And then also you look at the credentials behind you and the reputation and everything else. It's like, wow, this is like everything kind of wrapped into one. So it totally makes sense that this would be a place somebody from LA would want to come, and I think that's kind of the cool thing about the internet is the community that you can actually build, and that we're not limited to geography anymore. Our awareness isn't the local paper. It's not just, 5 channels of national news, but now it's TikTok and it's learning birdhouses, whether you wanted to see that content or not, it gets served to you sometimes. Right. And that now you can meet somebody, you can live in LA and you can know about somebody from Louisville that is a better fit perhaps for you than anybody down the street from you. So it's great. And it's so smart that you're on these platforms and you're leveraging them, you're doing it. It's all the right stuff.
Yeah, it's just you want to diversify anything you do, from your financial investments to your exposure, from a website to all the social media platforms to print marketing, all to billboards to TV, like radio. I mean, we're doing all that because there's people who use all those resources, and there's plastic surgery is not just for the A-list celebrities and behind closed doors. Don't talk about what you had done. That was the 1980s and 1990s. Everyone's having some type of plastic surgery. Not everyone. A lot of people are having some type of plastic surgery, from a facial to neurotox, and they all might not be having surgery per se, but not everyone, I want to be very careful. Most people, we do have how we want our image to be perceived. And if there's things we can do to make me look better in lighting, make me look better in poor lighting, if it's a little skin cream, I'm going to do that. There's other people out there who might not ever be interested in plastic surgery, and it's not for everyone. I don't go around, you need plastic surgery. Like I said, I don't go with a marker. Like, I wouldn't get invited to dinner parties if I rolled in and everyone's like, oh, plastic surgeon's here. What's he going to, oh my God, he's going to say my neck's too big. That's not how I do it. Yeah. And that's when I'm thinking about all these different platforms. I want to make sure that I get the message out on every platform that a client might be watching from, the middle of the day news show to radio or ESPN radio. I do a lot of stuff with them just to sort of get out there.
Well, and now you're in the Scout Guide, which is really cool. So why was that important for you?
Yeah, so the Scout Guide, I learned about it from Lexington, which is about an hour from, actually, where are you from?
From Lexington,
okay.
Actually. Yeah.
So where you're from, they had a book, a Scout Guide Lexington, that someone had dropped in one of our offices, and I saw it sitting on the edge of the desk. My staff saw it, and they were sort of picking it up, looking through it, and I was like, it's a nice, thick, good, feels good in your hands. Plastic surgeon, it's got to feel good in my hands. It's got nice tactile feedback. And that's how I got introduced to it. I was like, the Scout Guide Lexington. And then, sort of do a Google search, or you can go to TikTok.
Yeah.
I still use Google. I haven't quite converted over to my TikTok searches. I'm a user, not a consumer.
Yeah.
And I learned it was all over the country. And then I learned it was about, entrepreneurs, small businesses in the community that you're in, highlighting some of those businesses. I was like, well, that's sort of what we're doing. That's what we do. We partner with individuals in town. And then I forget where I was, and I ran across someone from the Scout Guide, and I was like, Scout Guide, and got the business card, and then connected with the office, and that's just sort of how
here we are.
Yeah, it was really all within 6 months. I saw the book, heard about it, and then I ran into a representative from the Scout Guide. So
that's cool.
And this is their first volume in Louisville that we're a part of, and it's been great. It's already, once again, diversified my exposure to other businesses in town that, one, I didn't know about a few of them, and two, it allowed us to collaborate on some ideas. So it's great.
Yeah. And you talked about like doing some partnerships or things in the community. What does that mean?
Just community service. So any time, we have a lot of people who come through our doors here, and a lot of people come through our doors to spend money on themselves. So around holiday time, when people are just in a giving spirit, we try and set up things with local organizations. The one we did this year around Christmas time was the backpacks, where basically people would bring in food items that we could put into backpacks to be donated to those who are less fortunate. And we try and pick things throughout the year. My marketing director was involved with a bigger organization, so there's a lot of local ties to different community service that I'm always trying to see if we can get a part of.
Why is that important?
Just because, we all have privileges in our lives, and it's a blessing to sort of just be here today. Like I said, I came from a family of surgeons, worked my way through school and all of that, and I feel like I have a lot to give, not just from a surgical aspect, but from a community financial aspect. And everyone around me is healthy, so we all have, physically we can give, financially we can give, so any way we can do something, I think it's always better to sort of help those around you.
Yeah. Random question: what do you wish Louisville had that we don't have here? Because you've been around, you've been all the way to Rochester, so
a professional sports team now, like NBA, Major League, football, NFL, right? Those professional sports.
I can't imagine we'll ever get that.
Something that
nobody wants to challenge the schools,
Yeah, and we're close to Indianapolis, Nashville, Cincinnati. But I think having a professional sports team that the state could get around, as opposed to like, oh, you're a UK fan, you're a Louisville fan. It's a little divide in the state. Although I grew up a UK fan, I still watch UK Sport UK, even though I went to U of L. But I'm, all my gear is U of L gear. But when they play each other, I root for U of L now. So a lot of my friends don't like that. But I think it's a win if either one of us can go far. So I'll be watching the tournament this year. Louisville's not in it. Hopefully we make our way back once we get a new coach. And
it's going to make fun of them for not having the right tights or whatever that nonsense was that happened. Did you see that? The one player didn't want to play.
Oh, was that?
He didn't have the right tights.
I just assumed that was an excuse.
It probably was,
but I'm a believer in that. If you show up to the game without the jersey for the game, you shouldn't play the game. Like I said, I have kids, so they play club soccer, Javanon's the team they're on, and they have 3 different colors. They have red, black, white. Each game you have a color.
Sure. Yeah.
If you don't show up in that color, I don't think you should play. The coach still allows them to play at times. I'm like, no. I was like, that shows preparedness, shows you're not focused on the game. So you can tell how I run things. That I'm like, you and the coach is like, he's a good player. We give him your jersey, Tom. Let's let him.
Yeah.
But no, I think if you don't prepare for anything in life, that you shouldn't play.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think that speaks to the culture that exists here, probably, right? Like, you got to do the basic kind of things. Like, you got to show up. You got to do it on time. You got to be thoughtful.
Yeah. I mean, every surgery I do in the art studio is I've planned ahead I've executed that in my head before I ever walk into that room. I know what the result will be before I ever do the K. I visually see the result. Yeah. Sometimes the result lines up visually with what I saw, and sometimes I have to make in-game changes to get to that. Yeah. But it's very visual. Everything is very controlled in that setting. And that, when people talk about, what stresses you out or what's, most unnerving to you, and most people who know me, they'll say, well, you're very calm in all settings is usually a description, or what. One time they wanted me to describe in a magazine, I was like, calm, cool, collected. I was like, that's so cliche. But as a
nervous and shaky, that's what I am.
Yeah, right. Let me just
you should do the whole interview like
this.
Yeah,
right. But
inspiring confidence.
As a surgeon, it's great. But there's things that happen in a day-to-day that definitely externally I want to be like losing my mind. Internally I do, but you never want to show it, especially as a surgeon. Things never to say in the operating room are oops, oh no, like, right? Do you want to say that every now and then? Like, yeah, you're like, what, oh no.
Yeah, where's the scalpel?
You don't. So it's a well choreographed event. It's a very controlled event, and that's how all aspects of my life are. But the most stress, probably, if you were to follow me around a day with like a monitor on, is when I would get home and try and like tell my kids to do something. They're just like, nah, I'm not listening to you, Dad. And I'm like, really? I just left work with like 20 employees and everyone's like, yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do this. And I get home with a 12-year-old or 10-year-old. They're like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, well, and then that's like, that's where the monitor would be going up. Is like, because you can't control that, right? It's like, parenting is the biggest stressor of my life. Was that your next question? Biggest stressor? Parenting.
It is now. Yeah. I think that.
Do you have any tips? Do you have kids?
I have two.
You're 36.
A 6-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Oh.
And it's
diapers.
The 1-year-old is now like climbing up on things. She's a lot stronger now, so she's got the upper body strength to do things, and she's got a little bit of a personality and attitude. You very much know what she does not want to do. And I don't think she ever really quite knows what she wants. She wants to be up and down at the same time, which I try to figure that out. I don't get it. The 6-year-old, a lot more independent, but a little bit of acting out sometimes, and which is good feedback for me, because it's like, okay, so you need me more right now. It's like just looking for that attention. So, but how old are your kids? You
the oldest is 12,
10,
and then almost 6-year-old.
You had to think about that for a second.
I did, because there's a birthday coming up.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, is it the 6th birthday or is it the 5th?
Okay. I have 2 kids. Wait, 3. No, I have 3. I'm just
kidding. I don't know how many I have. It's just the ages. Because the birthday, she's going to have a birthday at the end of this month.
Oh, yeah. That'd be cool.
But they have 2 boys and a girl. Definitely, which has each child you're sort of different as a parent, I feel like. Or people always like, what's harder, 1 kid or 3 kids? And my answer is 1, because going from 0 to 1 is the biggest change, because before you have a child, it's your life, whatever you want to do. Oh, after work, want to go do this? I'm going to go do that. No, married, you're like, oh, you want to go? Like, hey, babe, let's go to dinner after. There's no planning of anything. It's very spontaneous. And then when you have that child, the one child, you're like, okay, it's no longer my life. It's no longer your life. It's ours. And now you have something to provide for. So I think for them. So that transition 0 to 1 child is definitely the biggest. Adding more, you're outnumbered. I got 3 now. I mean, maybe if I had more than you have for hands, like you had like 5, like, okay, she's got 2 hands, I got 2 hands.
I was going to ask you 2 to 3. I mean, at least like when there's 1, they get both of you. When there's 2, they get 1 of you. When you get 3, now they don't get your complete attention. Anybody's complete attention. So Do you feel any sort of like backward sliding from the older two? Because it's like, I used to have one person.
You
the whole
think
time,
about
and now I don't.
I think about that a lot. It's like how, because you love them all so much, but how do you show them that when there's more of them, right? Like, of course you love them all the same. If you do the same for each of them, but I definitely treat them each differently. But it has nothing to do with the way I feel for them. So I try and do one-on-one things. You know, they each have their interests, so try and find that one-on-one time so they don't feel that way. But definitely, if you're, I talk about my daughter the most. So everyone's like, oh, that's your favorite. And I'll sort of joke like, oh, yeah, definitely my favorite. It's just, I definitely probably treat her differently. One, it's my last child. So it's like, oh, the baby, want to baby you forever. And she'll probably be like 13. Like, oh, I'm going to baby you forever. She's like, Dad, really? I'm going to the 7th grade
13,
dance.
dude.
So I can already see that
You
coming.
fossil.
Like, if I talk too long about her or her wedding, I'll probably start crying on camera. So we probably don't want to get that. But yeah, it's just trying to do that independent one-on-one time with them is very important. That'd be my recommendation for you as they get older, to find those interesting things that they each like, so they do feel that connection with you. Yeah, because they all are gonna have different interests. Oh, is that the thing they said they were gonna have to do on the battery power? You might have to
actually still on.
You might have
for
to
a moment.
splice this one in.
That's funny.
This is good.
I mean, the cameras are still good because they got their own battery. And this is actually, it didn't even cut off. It's still going.
So I'm gonna pretend like we're in a
Can't see
dark.
anything. This is
We're
fun.
in a dark restaurant, so this is what we do when we see the menu.
Yeah.
We're gonna come in.
This is a podcast by candlelight now.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna look at that battery. That's funny.
So maybe I have. Where's your phone at? We can do.
Oh yeah, we should.
We can do it like campfire style. Do I look creepy like this?
No.
Is that creepy?
We just.
Or I'll shine it on you
doing
and
our
you
thing.
shine it on me.
Yeah, this is great. Cool. We're in.
Do I look creepy? Is it like?
We've never done a podcast
So
like
it
this.
was
This
a
is great.
day.
Yeah,
It was a day like today.
Yeah, you got to hold it under the
The
chin. to
moon
make
had just set.
that. Yeah, there you go. There it is.
And
Little Blair Witch.
it's like, yeah. Well, this is your first time the power went out. Does this mean we're gonna have to reshoot it?
No.
Because I only do one take. That's one thing about
We're
me.
leaving this in.
Anytime we do anything for TikTok, Instagram, any kind of video, I always say I only do one take and no scripts.
Yeah.
So they know that. That I'll only do one take of anything. So whatever you got today
This is it.
is
huh?
what you're using until
Perfect.
the next time.
Do you really only do one take?
Yep, one take.
Is that how
Mess it up.
How's that go?
That's your
You
one
just leave
take.
it in?
Yeah.
Or you just make them make a decision whether to use it or
If you'll
not?
see something spliced a little, that means they found some B-roll to put in. But yeah, I say one take only.
We're doing a candlelight.
Yeah, we
podcast
changed
now.
it to podcast at night.
Yeah.
I just told a great ghost story. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, you missed it. And now I'm scared here in
Yeah.
the dark. But yeah, LG&E having their issues, I guess.
Apparently, the second leg has went out. We were told it was only one leg without power. Now it's two. And, this is the type of experience I like to give people who come into Mays Plastic Surgery that,
Yeah. Confidence inspiring.
yeah,
You know.
it's great. It's a beautiful building if you could see it right now. If only you could see
Here,
what's
we'll
around
describe
us.
It to you.
But in all seriousness, the beautiful thing about what I mentioned about safety and keeping everyone safe. So if I was doing surgery right now, I have a generator. So if we walked out these doors, went to my OR art studio right now, it's full power there. So that's the beauty about doing these procedures. Like lose power, I have a generator, it kicks right in. We would never know it that the power went out. So that's the level of safety. It's an extra cost to me, but I want to make sure that if something like this were to happen to one of my surgical patients, it doesn't affect us. We can finish the day of surgery and everyone goes home safely. Which, full disclosure, you were told that we might lose power and we could do this podcast in the operating room where the generator was.
It's all right.
And if you could go back in time, would you change your answer?
No, because this gives the podcast some personality. You know,
because you asked
make
me
it memorable.
what I would like to add to Louisville.
Yeah.
So that was my question to you. If you could go back, would you change the location of your podcast?
No, I would definitely just keep it here.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe faster LG&E response is what we can add to Louisville.
It was 900 people out. I think we just became 901.
Yeah. Well, 2. Well, I guess you were part of the original 900.
Oh.
Since you're here, right? I'll just be the addition. But yeah.
Hey, it's your podcast.
Yeah.
Whatever. Say whatever you want.
So I am kind of curious. I was going to ask, how does parenting sort of This is really funny. This episode, I think it's right.
I feel the same as I did with the lights on. Like,
I know, like this really does not
nothing's
bother
changed.
me in any way. I think it's just kind of funny.
I don't even notice.
It's fun.
I was gonna make sure I got a good angle for the camera.
How does parenting 3 kids actually like show up at work and dealing with employees and all that?
It's similar because I call them I call my employees family. Like I like to have events with family and employees. But managing things that just like this, things unexpected happen at home, things unexpected happen at work. So it sort of gets you used to that. Or managing different personalities. Like I have 3 kids, they're all 3 different. We'll have over 20 employees and they're all a little different. So you learn different management styles of how to manage different individuals. So I think definitely parenting helps you become a better leader, a better boss, more understanding. And I think it gives me empathy for some of my employees who have families of their own, because if they have a sick child at home, I know what that's like, right? I understand if they need to leave early for that.
I just keep looking and make sure audio's not dying.
Yeah, if it does, then read lips. I
mean, figure it out.
That's why I got the sound on my lips. People
then we could just like overdub it with like bad lip reading the entire time.
I said I only do one take, but I can voice over some stuff if you want me to. I might change my accent just to really throw people. Like, does he sound different? And just to throw them off.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think it is kind of funny because we were going to wrap pretty soon. I do have batteries to do like backup kind of things, but we were going to wrap, so
hey,
might as well. And then we could do a follow-up.
Is it the hour? Did we hit the hour? You were worried about filling the hour.
No, we were trying to get to like 1:15. We're at like 1:13 right now. Oh. So see, I was so worried. I didn't know what we would talk about. I thought we were talking slower.
No, I talked pretty fast this time. Like, you're a Somerset boy. You got to watch out. What can I say? Is it coming to an end? Well, I'm good at selling stuff, so I got to do some plugs now. So
do it. Well,
we didn't even talk
about
it.
18th.
I know. See, you were gonna shut it down without me. Yeah, you were gonna shut this down without letting me promote the big event on April 18th from 4 to 8 p.m. Hopefully we have electricity. If we will have generators, hey, if we don't have power, we're still doing the event.
So
yeah,
clients
April 18th.
Here have to bring their own batteries.
Yeah, bring your cell phones, bring your lighters. It's going to be amazing. It's an amazing day at Mays Plastic Surgery, even with the lights off. But yeah, big open house. Like I said, this company's been around for a year, but we just got in our new facility. As you can tell by the background here, it's beautiful. But we've been waiting to have this moment to celebrate with everyone who's supported the company for so long. I've been doing this back in Kentucky for 8 years. I was 6 years in New York, and I have a lot of people behind me who make this happen. So this event's sort of for them. I like a good party, but it's for the people around us, the clients who come, who spend money. So we have a lot of giveaways. That's why we talk about giving away to the community, but I also want to give away to my loyal clients who come and spend money in the practice. And so that's a big part of this event, is sort of giving it back and letting them take advantage of those specials we have.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. Man, congrats on this place because it's really beautiful.
It is gorgeous. I mean, I can't wait to show you around.
It's really strong right there. It's great. But you're giving away 2 tickets to Bourbon and Beyond as well?
Yeah, so there's different tiers of the prizes, and our big prize is 2 VIP tickets to Bourbon and Beyond, the sold out concert here in Louisville the weekend. Yeah. I think it's Sunday night is the night that we have the 2 VIP tickets. I think that Tyler Childers is headlining that night, so I'm not sure what kind of music you like, but Bourbon and Beyond has a nice variety of music, so it's a great musical concert series.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, I'm glad that we could, be here today to see the beautiful place.
Yeah, that's right.
No, this is great. Great conversation. I really enjoy meeting you.
I'll give you some good light as you finish
Perfect. No, but I really appreciate your time. I know, there's a lot going on here right now, and there's probably people and things that you need to manage because the electrical grid having issues today.
I heard we didn't pay our electric bill, but...
when you put all the money into place, you gotta. I guess you didn't budget correctly.
That's a learning experience about being a business owner. You live and
sell
learn.
Off like the staircase or something just real quick so that you can.
Why you got to talk about the staircase? That's just touchy.
That was
the one thing that's not done in the office. The one that.
Is it going to be functional?
Who put you up to this? Yes. So it's a custom glass piece. They filled measured a couple times. But right now everyone thinks it's artwork. They're like, oh, I love the cylinders coming out of the wall. It's very abstract. I was like, those are the stairs that have no glass railing that we're expecting. Yeah, so it'll be up and running for the main event. Main event. Was it the fight now? For the open house event, it'll definitely be up and running. So.
Well, we'll have to come back next time after you paid the electric bill and we can see the place.
Yeah, and once you realize that none of this audio carried over for the last hour, we're going to have to voice over this entire podcast. So it's going to be great. I look forward to that. I'll find time for that for sure.
Perfect. One take, though.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Then I just faded out. My life.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to the Lexington Business Show. Go right now, rate and review the podcast. It's how we grow and thrive and how we get more listeners and get to do a lot more cool stuff here on the show. Thank you.